Hey everybody, it's Matt Madison with Doug Madison Realty. I'm here today with Jeff and Natalie Storment. They're the founders of Power Cross Ministries here in Statesville. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and spend with them and let them tell you a little bit about their organization and what they're doing in the community. So I'm going to hand it over to them, let them speak for a few minutes, and hopefully you'll learn something about the Power Cross Ministry here in Statesville. So Jeff and Natalie, go ahead.
Matt, thanks for having us today. We're happy to be here and just able to spread the word of what God is doing at Power Cross Ministries. We have been here for working on our 15th year now.
Yep.
So we've been here a long time. Started out in our basement, just a few kids coming over for a Bible study, and the Lord has grown it into something that has just been a huge asset for our community. We have multiple kids in college, over 40 kids, and those were the kids that were originally in our basement, is how I would describe it to everybody. We're starting to get to the years now of the kids graduating high school that started out in this facility, not this particular building, but the building beside us, and just seeing the growth has been amazing, and it's taken a lot of hard work. God has really positioned not only Natalie and I, but a lot of staffers and a lot of volunteers and a lot of donors to really get involved in this building process, is how I would describe it. And now that we are, 10 plus years into it, we are now opening separate locations, which we're in Salisbury, North Carolina right now, and we are currently checking on sites at a couple other places that we're being called to. So that's kind of a broad opening on what Power Cross Ministries is and where it started and where it is now. But I'd like Natalie to actually kind of tell us a little bit about the nuts and bolts that builds the place on a daily basis.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with what Power Cross actually does, on a daily basis, we're just trying to raise up a generation of young men who will lead their homes and be productive members of their community one day. So we start that when they're little, at 7 years old, ideally is the age where kids start here. And every day they have a structured program where they're getting academic support. Right now, during this time of virtual school, that's a huge part of our program that really had to expand. We're doing academic remediation every day from 11 o'clock pretty much until 7 p.m. So we're basically homeschooling the kids that are virtual. And then from there, they eat all the time like your kids do. So they have a snack or lunch when they get here. They have a hot dinner prepared that they sit down with their family and their team, and we sit in our cafeteria here and do that every time they walk through the doors. What's most important to us is their spiritual development. So we do discipleship and Bible study with the kids. We're a Christian ministry. We want to teach them to have a foundation in Christ and to build on that for their family and their future and for generations to come. And then the athletics is kind of the last part of it. It's what most people know visibly in the community, but for us it's really just a tool that we can utilize to help reshape and rebuild young men to a more productive future. So athletics is a tool that we've been blessed to be able to help a lot of our kids have their education paid for in college. But you'll see, particularly right now, as athletics are kind of void for this fall, we're seeing a lot more behavior issues. We're seeing a lot of kids just refusing to go to school even on the days that they need to be there because they have no motivation to be there. The athletics for us is a huge bargaining tool for the kids that we can help discipline them and structure them and teach them accountability and just teamwork and respect and all those great things. Our son is a collegiate student athlete. It's been a blessing for him. As Jeff said, we have helped support a lot of kids get on to college. And if you look at graduation rates nationally, student athletes graduate at a tremendously higher percentage than a kid who just goes to school. So for us, the athletics is a huge part of our program, but it's what gives us the opportunity to disciple them, to feed them, to help them grow in all the other areas. Basically, we see the kids 5 to 7 days a week. We want to see them as much as we can because if they're here, they're doing something productive. But obviously, our little guys that are 7, we structure them where they were seeing them 2 to 3 days a week, and then we build up. We also have transition houses that some of our families live in that we help them to kind of get on their feet. And then our program really never ends. A lot of kids think they might age out at 12, but we have our college kids. Jeff was FaceTiming one of our boys this morning that's in Indiana playing professional baseball. And they're really just like your children, like you never get rid of them. And the older they are, they're just more expensive, and now they need cars and houses instead of notebooks and cleats. So as we grow, we're trying to raise up young men, and we've been blessed to see 4 of our alumni get married in the past 2 years, and they were all first generation men and their families to get married that had not
Wow.
taken place before.
That's awesome.
We have young men who are now becoming fathers, and are fathers that are living in the home and taking care of their children. So we're seeing the fruit of what we planted 15 years ago actually start to sprout now. So it's pretty awesome to see them grow into productive young men. And it's not that way for all of them. It's just as bad for us when we get, calls from the county jail, and when we see mugshots of kids that were here that, have chosen a different path, and that's how we know we're serving the right children, but that we still have a lot of work to do, because we don't want to see those. We don't want to see mugshots. We want to get wedding invitations instead.
The big positive, though, is if a child will walk through our doors and they will stay on one of our teams for 2 or more years, they will graduate high school 100% of the time. And the national average and the local average for that is about 50% for the kids that we work with in our community. So what people don't understand is, the structure that comes along with it and the foundation that comes along with it really help broaden long-term expectations in lives. And it's just certain traits that are taught here that aren't taught elsewhere on a daily basis can go in and really change the structure of, a human's life. It's that simple.
Wow. You talked a little bit about virtual school, and the time we live in is gone virtual. Are you doing virtual tutoring, or are they coming in, or talk a little bit about that?
We've done both. I'll let Natalie.
Yeah, as the kind of stay-at-home order went in place in the spring when school basically shut down, we attempted to do virtual with our kids first, and each of our staff members just had so many kids they were assigned to, and that's a real struggle for our kids and some of the homes that they're in. Some of them, their parents are working, so they become a caregiver. If you're 10 and you're in charge of your 7 and 5-year-old siblings, then it's very hard for you to do your schoolwork on your own. Some of the environments are not as productive for good learning situations, so we've had kids that maybe are much safer at school or have a much better learning environment at school. So very early on into the shutdown, we decided that to best serve the kids, we needed to have them in person. So we started doing small group in person and staying under the mandated order of people per building for that period of time. But now we're completely in person with the kids here. They'll come in today. You'll start seeing them come in. And they're here every day. We do everything we can to keep the kids safe here, but for us, we recognize that the effects of the virus are worse on our kids and all of the side effects. It's not the actual virus itself that's causing most of our kids and their families' issues. It's the environmental effects. There's a huge increase in domestic violence right now because people are sheltered in place together. And our kids are a witness to a lot of that. There's a lot of need for people to be in a safer, more productive environment to do their work, but also just to have a quality of life that they need to, that school did provide for a lot of our kids.
Right.
So going 2 days a week is not really enough to do what they need to do.
If you struggled 5 days a week last year and you're only going 2 days a week this year, it's not going to be real productive. You can take it into your job. Anybody out there, take it into your job and think, if you only did your job 2 days a week for the past 10 years, what would your outcome look like?
Right.
And that's where we're at. Look at what we know. The harder you work, the longer you work at something, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get better at it.
Right.
And our kids getting cut in reverse on that and not having that support at home, they would say, let's come down here. Now, my son, for instance, I can't help him with honors chemistry. When he was in high school, he was on his own.
Right.
And Power Cross provided that tutoring here for him. Virtually, you can't really teach a kid something very extreme like that if they're sitting at home, they don't have the internet, or if they have the internet and they don't really know how to answer an email. You can't really help that child with that. Even if you teach them the very basics of computer skills, even later on the attention span, that we can help them discipline wise here completely changes. and people don't understand that. Like most people sitting at home, like I wouldn't really understand that if I didn't work here.
Right.
You know, but what God provides for the kids down here as far as the tutoring goes one-on-one, you know, now we have to kind of get across the table from another kid.
Right.
You know, the mandate is a certain age group that you have to wear the mask, and if you're under that age group, you don't have to wear the mask anymore. And kind of making some changes to that from what I understand, but make a long story short, you know, we really need the children face to face to help them.
Right.
And we, like Natalie was saying, she was really nice about it. I'm more blunt than she is. But I mean, we've had death, we've had molestation, we've had hunger, we've had SWAT teams at houses when we pulled up to pick up kids, you know, and those are all the side effects. And since we started, we hadn't had any virus issues here. We hadn't had a single kid get sick over the virus, not one. So it's been a huge change for our ministry to have the negativity coming that we have from the side effects of the virus.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of great things going on here at PowerCross. Just tell us how we can be involved as a community.
Great. So we need volunteers. Obviously, the more volunteers we have, the more one-on-one impact we can have on our kids. So we need coaches. If you like to coach, we are playing football right now. We'll continue our sports through the fall, and wrestling, basketball, and baseball. If you'd like to coach, we can always use you, like strong male influence on the kids. We need tutors every day, and that can be as simple as I can read and I can sit with the child and give them guidance and support. Vast majority of our kids have no struggle in actual doing the work as far as the ability to do the assignments they have. It's more of the structure. It's more of someone sitting with them and holding them accountable for helping them, motivate them, and why they need to do the work. Our chef Doug would always enjoy help. We serve about 100,000 meals a year from PowerCross that are free to our kids and their families. So he's in there whipping up food every morning and would love to have some support there. And then just as a ministry, we always need support with Bible study and just administrative ways, hundreds of ways you can support us. But if you go on our website, powercross.org, or if you look at any of our social feeds, Instagram or Facebook, it's just PowerCross Ministry. You'll find links there where you can click and say, I'm interested in volunteering, and then one of us can actually reach out to you and let you know a little bit more. Some of the other needs that Jeff will share is we're about to build a football field here in Statesville, and we need some help with that. And if you feel like God is saying, you know what, this is something I really want to know more about, we are in need of a strong leader and site director for our Salisbury campus. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, maybe all this COVID has given me a shift of heart of what's most important in my family and how I can serve the kingdom greater, then maybe you can reach out to one of us and we can let you know about that permanent position to join the team of our ministry.
Or if you want to drive a bus,
We
we're in desperate need of bus drivers right now because of the influx of children, having to spread them out a little bit. We're having to run more routes. So CDL passenger endorsement, we're paying. So come see us.
And if you do feel like I don't want to go anywhere near PowerCross, but I want to support them financially, then you can always hit donate or invest now on any of our pages. And then if you just want to come by and come for a tour, then you can just call us up or stop by and we'll give you a tour and kind of show you what's really happening here. That's how this great guy got here from the Rotary. Matt was here for a tour, and then he's here now helping to spread the word. So we'd always love to do that as well. You want to tell them about the football field, babe?
We just started our first football field that we built, which we built in Salisbury. We did build a baseball field in Statesville before that, but our first football field was Salisbury. We just completed it, and now we are trying to do our best. We've been on our hands and knees praying that God will provide us a football field here, and we've actually purchased it. God's provided the land, and we just need someone to come in and do the grading and the irrigation and the sod. So, Matt, we appreciate you coming out and letting us share all this.
Yeah, well, absolutely. PowerCross is a great ministry, and these two folks are really impacting the community for the greater good. If you're interested in getting more information on this, you can go again to their website at powercross.org, or you can reach out to me and I'll be glad to put you in contact with Jeff and Natalie. So thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. And again, I wanted to thank Jeff and Natalie, and hope you guys have a great day. Take care, and God bless.